Not big of a deal on everyday checking. You have your rim oil in the back, which is this plug right here. Once every 6 months or so, I'd say pop this screw and check it. Just make sure it's full of fluid. I don't even know how many miles, but every once in a blue moon, maybe once or twice upon owning it, you want to drain it and refill it. That's not a big deal. Just maybe
that's
once or
twice
fluid? A year. No, this is your rear end.
The transmission fluid?
This is rear end.
Okay.
This would be gear oil.
Gear oil.
Yep, that goes in here. That's something that should never really have an issue, but you want to check it once or twice a year. As far as, while we're back here, as far as your brakes go, every once in a while you'll need to adjust your brakes. If you start noticing that you're not, I'll see on this one. Yeah, right here. This screw right here, you'll find this cable right here. You want to adjust this screw. If you notice that your brakes are starting to not stop well, feel like your pads are getting weak, adjust this by just turning it a couple turns, and that'll just add some tension to your brake pads. Location on the big four-wheeler, these two right here is how you adjust your brake if you don't feel like you're stopping well enough. A couple turns to the right, and that'll tighten it up. Here's your gear oil for this one. That's the one you need to check once or twice a year. These you only adjust when you feel like your brakes just aren't stopping so well. It just adds a little more pressure to your brake pad. Nothing. This is nothing. It could be. This is your turn signals, and this is your horn.
Okay.
Yep, they're working. That's all that is. That's all I added there. Everything, all your controls here are still the same. This is your choke. Right here. It's the most important part. When you crank it, you want to run your choke over. Turn your choke all the way over. Make sure you're on start. That was probably the other one. Let it idle. The biggest thing is by playing with this too much and giving it too much gas, you can choke out your carburetor, or flood out your spark plugs and foul them out quicker. Everybody will find their own little trick to doing it, but normally, just turn your choke over, turn it on, hit the start button. As far as this goes, you have two hinges right here. As long as they're lined up left and right, it'll fall right on your nuts. Remove your nuts, lift it up. If you ever feel the need to take it off, the way you would do is just bump the whole side that way. It'll pop it off the hinges and you can remove this whole thing. Alright. Your battery on this one is going to be right here underneath this seat, but it's going to be under this cover that I pulled off. Right here. You just remove these two screws, and this is how you access the battery on this particular four-wheeler. This here is your air box. Every few months or so you should pull this off. I should have had all this ready so that we weren't wasting time. This is, what you want to do is remove one screw here and loosen this screw here. You pull it out. Remove this cover right here. Oh, actually this one isn't as easy to clean as these. You take the whole unit, you just soak it in gas, squeeze it out, soak it in gas, squeeze it out. It will swell up when you do this, but as it dries, it'll shrink back down to normal size. You want to do that as often as you feel like it, honestly. Whenever it looks you look in here, it starts looking black and grimy, just clean it with some gas. You'll get a handful of cleans out of it before you eventually have to replace it. It's just a little bit easier. You want to pop these 4 clips off, pop the cover off. One screw on this, well, actually it's 2 screws. It is just the same. This one comes apart. Okay, you can take this screw off right here. I think actually you could probably do the same on the other one. Once you pull that screw off, this filter will slide right off. Just take this filter in your hand, soak it with gas, squeeze it out, do that a couple times. You notice it's got some sticky. I put some filter spray on there. If you want to pick some up, what it does is help trap the grease. But when you're done, like I said, it will swell up as you do it with gas. If you notice this is semi-tight fit, when you do it and it's wet, you'll have a lot of extra slop. No worries, that'll dry. It'll go back together just fine as it dries. Then you just put it back together. A couple simple screws. you're back in business. It's kind of important to try to remember to turn this off when you're done because it can flood the carburetors. This is off. There's an arrow on this one. Off is this way. On is this way. Reserve is this way. Reserve, of course, is when you're out riding and you run out of gas. Reverse is down. Everything else is up. You have reverse at the bottom, neutral, and then first, second, third, fourth on up. Right here on this one, this is your gas cutoff once again. This is reserve. This is off, and this is on. Make sure you try to remember to turn them off when you're done. Each four-wheeler has one spark plug. It's located on the driver's side this time. It's simple. We'll just regular standard spark plug wrench. You pull it out, swap it out. I left you a couple extra spark plugs in your toolboxes up here. So if you ever feel like you're not cranking and no matter what you try, don't want to crank, try to swap out a spark plug. Because they do foul very easily, especially when people run the choke wrong or things like that. Simple as just pulling this out, taking the old one in, screwing it in, tighten it till it's semi-snug and do like a quarter turn to a half a turn pass, nothing more than that. They don't have to be overly tight. Now, here's how you work your winch. If you ever find yourself stuck, and hopefully you won't, put quick disconnects on here. So, just reach in here, grab your battery, look for the 2 wires that are extra. On that, just plug your red to your red. You can't hook these up backwards, the way I have it. I'll just bring the unit around to the front of the vehicle. Unplug these two. And you got a winch. Of course, you want to pull this pin, put this back in, and this is what's called a free spool over here. Say your partner's 10 or 15 feet away and you don't want to wait on that. You pull this out, allows it to free spool. Just make sure you spin that and lock it back in, and then you're ready for put holes in the straps just so that you can keep these up and out of your way. Make them look pretty and all up there in Costa Rica. Represent the States. So then if you ever remove your winch, it might take you a second to line the holes back up in the metal. But the winches are removable. To remove them, it's just pull this simple pin, slide the unit up, put it wherever you want to, keep it from getting stolen. Put it back in, pretty much the same way it came out. Look at it, I lined it up right on the first time. And I had to say something. And that's how your winches work.
Excellent.
I plug these back together just to keep the mud from driving and off the road, from getting your connections and getting them wet. Just make sure you do not plug these two together here. If you plug these together, you'll melt your battery. Four-wheelers won't work without a battery.
Around to get it in
what
gear.
you have to do is push it down first, then squeeze the handle. And then go down, and that's reverse. Up is neutral, up is first, second, third, fourth, so on. So once you're in neutral, push the red button down before you squeeze the handle. Squeeze the handle down, and there's reverse.
Okay. And it's different.
This one is going to be basically the same thing. You squeeze your handle down, your reverse is right here. Push it down. But that's reverse right there.
Okay.
Basically, the same principle applies. Your handle and your gear shifter is going down, but instead of the button on that one, you have a switch here. It's important depending on what you're riding on. You want to, ideal pressure is anywhere from 4 to 10 pounds. Harder surfaces like pavement and things like that, you're going to want a little more pressure. Softer surfaces like mud and things that are going to lose traction in, you want a little less pressure.
Okay.
I also installed a breakable fuse link, so if you ever have things quit working like turn signals, horns, etc., this would be where the fuse would be. Simple as that. It's just a regular car fuse. Each unit should have one right close to the battery.
Why'd you?
If you find yourself in the field and you have no juice, each unit has a way to start it without electric. They all have electric start, which is on the handle. But this one has a pull start, so does the green one. Basically put it neutral like you normally would. And just pull the cord.
Yeah, just keep doing it until it finally starts.
Yep. This one being a higher compression motor, it has a kickstart. It's over there, Danny. I'll give you a second. It has a kickstart. You remove this panel on the driver's side, folds out. This kicks forward, not backwards, forwards. All right, this also has right here, which is, I can't think of the name of it. It takes pressure off your piston. You flip it up, I'll show you how it works. See how easy this kicks right now? Right, you have what's called a compression stroke. You'll kick and you'll notice it kicks easy and all of a sudden it's hard to kick. That's your compression stroke. If you flip this knob up, right here, flip that up, when you hit that compression stroke, it'll pop it down, which will allow that to kick over to your next stroke. Here's how you check your oil. This right here, pull this out. I believe the other ones have a window, this one has a dipstick. Pull it out, check your dipstick. Make sure you always wipe your dipstick before you trust it, wipe it off, reseat it, pull it back out to check your oil. This line right here is your full mark. This line's your full mark, that's your low mark. As long as you're in between there, you're safe. Try not to, try to keep it topped off, but as long as you're in between these two marks, you're safe. All right, these, you have a window down here. This glass window right here, what you want to do is there's a tick mark. Find something to point with. There's a tick mark right here. I don't know if you can see it on your video or not, but there is a line right here beside the glass. Right there, I'm touching it now. You want to look through the glass and you want that line as your full mark. So you want the oil level, which is pretty close to the top of the tick mark, to be even. That's how you know if you're on. This is how you add your oil, but that's just not how you check it. Pull this to top it off. But like I said, to make sure that you have the correct amount of fuel, you need to lean down and look at it from the side. This was just a tiny bit low, but that's safe, it's still fine.
And how,
I'm your eye, but honestly.
what kind of oil?
Just regular four cycle engine oil. You can actually use just any SAW 10W40 is what it calls for. So you can use regular car oil, or you can use 4-cycle oil for motorcycles and four-wheelers.
Did you show me where to pour it in on that one?
Yeah, same place that you check it on this one.
Okay.
If you look underneath the unit, there's a big screw right here. This screw right here, you pull this screw out, your oil will drain, let it drain for a few minutes, cap it back off, and that's it. That's how you drain your oil there. What you do is you squeeze the brake down all the way, and you take this and you push this forward, then slowly release it, and that is your parking brake. Just squeeze the handle in, push that, and that was it. All right, what I was saying is this one's been in a wreck. There's a couple signs of it, but this bracket was slightly bent here, which holds your tire to your A-frame. All you do is loosen this nut or that nut just a little bit. That's only if your steering starts getting really tight on you. It shouldn't be a problem, but it's the gold screw right here, right there, on the side of the carburetor. It's the only screw you can see right from the side, and that's it right there.
Okay.
Just turn it clockwise to idle it down, counterclockwise to idle it up. Okay. Now, on this black screw on bottom here. That black screw on bottom, you turn it counterclockwise to idle up and clockwise to idle down. When you'll notice this is just temperature changes, things like that, they'll have to slightly be adjusted. If you're running and it just seems like it's wanting to putter out or not quite idle high enough, would be the only time you have to adjust that.